Welcome back, fam. We had a little technical difficulties. Hopefully, we can stay live and stay on the path right now. We had a couple some rules to this stuff too.
Yeah.
Just in case you missed that a little last segment, we talked about for a couple minutes. We started to talk about rules. We're gonna talk about rules and choices we make. Right now, we know everything has rules. Rules started before we even got here.
Mhm.
Before the foundation of the world, that's what God was doing. God was setting the rules. Sometimes you may hear me refer to rules as governments, and no, we're not talking about legislative and executive and judicial. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something that's actually more supreme to man made governments
Truth.
because they're trying to mimic or copy something that,
Mhm.
but they don't get the essence of what the rule is, right?
Right.
Rules are in everything,
Mhm.
right? When you say choices, so what you got for us, Alex, the PR? Just in case you missed the last time, IMG chromosome, Alex PR in the cut, right?
Hey. In
In
that
that thing,
thing.
in that thing.
Yeah,
So,
we were just talking about choices and the consequences that go along with it. I know one thing that we talk about a lot, just in our conversations is about, good consequences and bad consequences. People always try to always go negative with the consequence, but there's good consequences to certain things too. So we want to make sure that there is going to be a result from your choices.
mhm.
So you
Why? Why do people? Why do you always? Why are people not maybe not
Mhm.
you, but why are people always trying to skate or get away from or get around or sometimes just ignore the rules? What's so intriguing or attractive about not following a rule? Why are you so rebellious against something that's set? They'll probably even have you and have us in mind. Probably even have our favor. It's probably for our favor, but we are so quick to want to get rid of or go around. We don't want to break the. We don't want to follow the rule. Somebody give you a command and you break the. You don't want to do exactly what they say. You gotta cut it short. I don't want to just do what you say. Why? What is it? What is it that you know that you think that you have over the rule that was set before you even got here? Most likely.
and I think some of it is a lack of respect for that person. If it's a person that you're defying, if it's a rule, a lot of people think that maybe the rule is outdated. It doesn't apply to them. Um, so it's arrogance. It's a selfish thing.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's why people don't follow the rules. They're like, well, that rule's not for me.
But you
I don't
have
know.
an example, right? And a rule. As a matter of fact, I gave one good earlier. Assistant coach to my daughter's flag football team, and we get out there, and I try to tell them what to do. The children, we try to tell them what to do. We both coach in different ways, so I have my method, and he has his. Both are needed,
Hmm.
but they tend to follow one and not the other. Me, I'm the other. So they break the rules. They break what I'm trying to coach them into telling, so to help them be more successful at what they're trying to do, and they don't want to do it, and then they fail, and then their emotions start to get flared up because they're getting sad because they're losing. They're not getting the points, and I'm like, I tried to tell you what you can do to make it better for you,
Hmm.
and some things have a over governing rule. That's that governments,
Hmm.
and then some things have personals or more specific rules. But regardless, if we think about we want to get away from rules. If you really want to do this, then you need to get away from. Then you need to get rid of all rules.
Hmm. How you feel
Imagine,
then?
yeah, imagine that. No rules. But
So how would you determine? Like, how would you figure out who is the winner?
yeah, there's no rules. There's no
How?
score because the score has in order to score something, you have to have rules. It means every time we hike the ball, we scored.
Hmm.
Because I don't want to. I don't care about you actually passing the gridiron, which is the end zone, getting it. I don't care about you catching the ball. It's flag football. Ain't no flag on that person. I don't care. They made it to the end zone, so it's a score.
That's why I don't. I'm confused as to how everybody's a winner. Everybody's not a winner.
They're not winners. Oh my gosh. Listen. I do not employ that. I never did. When I was growing up, it was never employed. But when
No.
after I graduated, then they started saying everybody, no child left behind. I'm like, that's a noble attempt, of a notion, but you missing the whole spirit of it is just wrong. There, children do get left behind. You sat there, run,
Get up.
get your butt up out there and run. Well, I didn't. He didn't cross the finish line first. Then he need to run faster.
You still gotta finish.
You got to finish.
Yeah.
My daughter and my, now I'm going to say my daughter. But every child or person, when I see them do something, I don't understand why they stop before they get to the end zone, before they get to the end finish line.
Mhm.
You don't run to it, you run through it,
Come on. You
right?
said it.
And that's regardless of anything. I think we should think like that with our spirit, with our health, with our mindset. We don't run. We shouldn't go do the bare minimum just to make it to the finish line.
Mhm.
You are putting 100 through it, all the way through it. You didn't even know that was your last step. You don't know which step made it because we have those split
Mhm.
second finishes, and that person that had that energy still at full throttle through that thing got it at the last second. Sorry, you should not have been ready to stop at the finish line.
Mhm.
You're supposed to keep going because the finish line of the because this finish line is the end of this one, but the end of this step in your life is the beginning of the next step, and you don't want to go in there slowing down. You want to go in there full throttle.
Mhm.
So what you got? We got a mentality of you got a question for us?
Well, I was just talking about how would you feel as a rule breaker
Hmm.
to always constantly be watching behind your back. You know, we love these shows and movies about breaking the laws and organized crime and stuff like that. But it's like it's always the same situation. Somebody's always out to get you. There's always some revenge. There's always a recourse, and you see it. But yeah, we still breaking the law.
Hmm.
They're like, well, the law needs to be changed. Okay, well then let's talk about that. But there still has to be this absolute truth at the bottom of at the root of it, which starts with God. I mean, you have to acknowledge the creator who made this whole
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah. And we have scientists and people who go about they had to learn how to describe things.
Mhm.
They just weren't just born. You had to learn how to describe what you're trying to tell us about science. But there's rules, and the foundations of the rules and what I said was well before we even got here. So an orbit is following a rule of gravity or whatever you
Okay,
want to say.
Tyson.
That's a rule. There's a
Mhm.
rule there, and if it wasn't, the Earth would have been unleft. We'd have been undied because we would. Oh, sorry, we'd have been. We would have been gone because we would have went outside, far away from this star. We'd have crashed into a planet, and it'd been too many things happening because nothing follows rules. Right? The mass, the body of mass, the larger the body mass, the more dense it is, usually have greater gravitational pull or whatever. Just go ahead and hit it anyway. Just float on away. The galaxy wouldn't be spinning it'd just scatter. It wouldn't be in a disk, it'd just scatter. And black holes would just pop up wherever they want to,
Mhm.
if they have a desire, if you want to make them alive, they're not dead, they're actually beings and whatever it is. But the rules were set before we got here.
Right.
And those rules, like yesterday, I was at the barbershop and we was talking about why do people go through situations of uh we were talking about rules, but we weren't talking about it specifically like now. We was talking about how I lost my train of thought that fast.
Yeah, at the barbershop, y'all was saying it was a guy in the seat. I don't remember what y'all were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking, but you go ahead. We were talking about rules,
Hmm.
and we were talking about how people need to be more conscious of what goes on.
Right.
You come in like we were talking about, in the barbershop. Don't bring your girlfriend in the barbershop, man.
Mm.
Keep the. He's like, oh, you know something like, look, it changes the dynamics of the barbershop. We're in here. This is a man space. We're in here trying to have
This is a
conversation, and that
I can't
seriously,
say. Sorry.
this is a man's
It's
world.
too early.
And we're in there trying to sing. We're in there trying to talk about certain subjects or whatever. And when you have a woman around, for some reason, there's always that guy, especially if it's the barber, who would try to include her in our conversation. And soon as you include a woman in conversation, it's going to be one of two things. She's either going to be she's either going to be one of those who feels like she needs to defend womanhood And then it makes a biased conversation, and now people back down because, and it's crazy. You have a barbershop full of men and one woman, they'll back down and think that they're going to offend somebody by telling, instead of just telling the truth, because they don't want to say anything to offend her. But she can say everything to offend us, and it don't matter because we're men. We're supposed to be able to take it, and she can come in and say what she wants. Like, don't do that. And also, you got some guys in there that don't care. They'll try to get your girl.
Uh-oh.
Would you coming in? You sitting in that chair, you can't see. And he like, hey, is this your dude right here?
Okay, hit
I
him
know
with
your
that
dude.
Joe. Oh,
Yeah, they start singing to him. It's crazy, and it's like, look, just don't do it,
he said, "Whatever your man will do, I'll do."
because you
And for
can't go in
you,
the salon with all that.
mm-mm.
I wish you would. I wish one dude would go in the salon full of women and think he gonna go in there and talk about what. Nah, bro, it's not gonna work out that way. Anyway,
Rules.
yeah, we back to the rules. Um, Rules are complex, and you have a lot of people that want to go to church. They don't want to go to church. They want to be a part of this. They don't want to be a part of this. But regardless, if you're in it or out, you still have rules that you have to follow. It's crazy. We know the rules existed before man was here, because in order to warn somebody about eating of a certain tree, of the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
of good and evil, which means there were something that thing that's called good and some things that are called evil, and if you have the knowledge of them, you can pick and choose, which means there's certain rules that goes with this one versus that one, and everybody keep talking about how whether or not we knew good from bad, we knew evil from good, and like we were born with it in us. I don't know why people think that just because somebody chooses to go this route or wasn't coached on making the choice, this is where we come back to you. It's the choices you make. The rules are there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's up to you to make the choice to go this route or this route. You can't change the rule. The rule is already made. It's
Right.
up to you to make the choices, and the rules don't have respect to you or the next person. You you live in righteousness gets this rule, these consequences, because the rules are set for righteousness to have those consequences. You want to live in sin? Sin brings death, right? Because the rule was set for sin to bring these things, and we call it death. Doesn't matter if you want to die or not. You then don't choose sin. Now you still going to end up passing some sooner or later, but when you make this, you sure enough bring it closer to your life real time by following these rules versus those rules. There's
Well,
consequences to everything.
well, that that's why we have to know right from wrong morally. We have to see that example, and that's why a lot of these kids are, confused because it's like, okay, is this right? I mean, we know about people that grow up in like urban areas and stuff like that. They're like, hey, you got to get in where you fit in. And anytime somebody helps you or something like that, they're like, what's the motive? Are you trying to finesse me? Or I hear that from the younger generation, and they're actually leery of people helping them
Hmm.
because they've seen the help not really be help. It be because you want to glorify your name, not God's. You trying to help somebody. Do
You
you helping
helping
somebody?
somebody.
But you're doing it. You're recording them. In their weakest moment, you're putting posting everywhere. It's like, hey, I just helped this person, and people don't want to be a charity case all the time. Some people don't mind sharing their story, but let that be their decision.
Yeah.
Don't come in, trying to show, hey, we fed all these people, and then have the cameras there while you lined up for food. Like, I don't want people knowing I'm, and
Yeah, they didn't even
it's
want people to know that they needed food.
yeah, it's like, the news crew shows up and it's all like, yeah, we're here to help the needy, and it goes like that even for with us, with sickle cell, with we rain. A lot of the warriors don't want to participate because they don't want people to feel sorry for them.
Hmm.
They're like, look, I'll deal with it. I'll come back out, whenever it's time to, do something fun, or, if I need. But then when you need help, it's like they don't know what you're going through. People don't understand because they can't see it. They see you good, but then they don't see you.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's a it's a balance. But there's nothing wrong with you know doing it on your own time.
Right.
Sharing some certain things. You can definitely be private about things, but you still have to let people know
Yeah, yeah,
what you're
and
going through.
that comes back to your choice.
Choices.
Some people have pride, and they don't want people to know that they're going through. Some people are, they're embarrassed because they don't feel like they should have been in that situation in the first place. But I lost that pride thing.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I'm not prideful about anything, but that that ease of being embarrassed about things, I purposely tried to get rid of that a long time ago.
Mhm.
Because I've been to what I believe was my bottom,
Mhm.
and uh, God helped me back out that thing. But even while I was there, before I got there, while I was there, and even after, I learned that me people not knowing probably made me stay there longer because I was too prideful to tell anybody or let anybody know. It's not like I'm not saying go broadcast, but if somebody asks you what's wrong, tell them what's wrong.
Right.
Especially if it's something that you don't know how to not be wrong anymore. What are you doing? This person. What if this person was the one that God sent for you to help you, and you don't want to tell them?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
embarrassing, but
gave you a way
whatever.
out. I
Get out.
gave you the way out, and you didn't want it
I
because you're too
sent it.
busy being sensitive about the situation. But this is not your end. This is a particular
Moment.
time.
Mhm.
Get out of it. Now we can keep walking down the path, but you're stuck here. What are you doing? I sent you somebody. Use it. Well, man, I'm good. I'm blessed and highly favored. Right now, this is how you feel right now. Okay, if you blessed and highly favored, then stay there. That's why I've I've said I've said to people that make choices. If you make choices in front of me and I don't think you trying to get out of it, what I'm not gonna beg you to get out of your trauma. I'm not gonna beg you to get out of the situation. Maybe you want to be there, especially if I came to help.
It's
I'll
comfortable,
let you know. Yeah, yeah. Once
especially
you
if
be
you've
there
been
too
there
long,
before. Yeah.
yeah. I'll definitely tell you, like my mom, I used to tell her to ask these certain questions to the doctors when she go to the hospital, and she wouldn't ask. And I ain't gonna say it on here because it's that word, but I said, well, if you want to self delete, go ahead. I can't stop you. I'm states away. I can't even get to you if I tried to. By the time I get there, there's no helping. But I'm telling you to help, and you won't even do it. It's like you probably, Mama, you should have. Hey, when you get there, ask them this, and if they say this, then you can move it here. If they say this, then don't go. But don't let them just put something on you, and you just go. You just take it, accept it, everything. You don't question anything. You don't try to figure out more. No, okay. Well,
Mhm.
it's up to you. But rules are rules, and without them, it'd be chaos. It'd be a lot of problems happening to us. For those who try to avoid rules, you're seeking the unknown, and the unknown, well, they're seeking the unknown to you because the unknown to you is known by something or somebody else already. They've already
Mhm.
been there. As a matter of fact, you start moving into their realm.
Mhm.
And whether you want to be spiritual or not, I don't want it. I don't want to move into these other realms to where I know I'm weak because I just got here. I don't even know I don't know how to operate in this realm. But I didn't want to be over there. And I had gave an example once again, with Christ. Christ told us, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me." So he gave us those set of rules. Okay, so if I want to get to God, I need to follow those rules. Now, there's a path. Now, if there's a path that Christ gave us, then that means there's an opposing path,
Mhm.
or there would be no need for salvation. There would be no need. Everybody would be just going. But there's a certain path to go down. If you don't go down that path, then it means another path. Now, the other path has rules too, because it's the opposite of the path that He gave you. And if that means that now if you're on this path and you choose not to follow Him, then you're going to choose some other path that He did not tell you to go on. There's rules. There's something over there that He was trying to help you avoid not getting into, or He wouldn't have told you to follow this straight and narrow. It wouldn't be narrow. So whatever is off of this path is definitely something you don't want, but it has rules, and you may not even want to know what those rules are, but you will figure it out once you get in it.
And what's the bottom line of it all? What's the word that sums all that up?
The choice you made.
I'm talking about what should you be doing to and what's the word that makes it all come together. Either you do this or what's the one word?
Okay.
Obedience.
Yes.
That's the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah. But people don't want to obey. They want to rebel, rebel, rebel. It's rebel. But why would you rebel on something that you have no power? Once you get look, okay, God will give you what you want. Okay? Did you hear me what I said? God will give you what you ask for. He'll give you unction and desire to go this way or that way. It depends on where he's going. But if you want to go the opposite way that he's going, you can. But you're going to get what's out there. Outside of the gates of heaven, there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. I don't know what's causing it. I don't want to know. Because I don't want to be gnashing my teeth. That sounds painful.
I don't even know what
Weeping
gnashing is.
and gnashing of teeth. It's like
Oh, that's what it looked like.
yeah, it looked like that face.
Oh,
When
that's
you can't say I think I've had a gnashing of teeth moment. When I stubbed my toe.
Oh no.
And when you stub your toe and you get past that point of pain where there's no noise coming out, and you like, you in so much pain. Listen, there's only one way. The Bible says, gave us a way. Regardless if you want 10 or 3, if you want 10, 30 ways, 40 ways, it don't matter. He gave you one. And there's rules to stay, there's rules that you have to follow to stay on that path. If you want the results of that path, then follow the rules. If you don't want the results of that path, you can get off. It's just like a train. You can jump off a train while it's moving.
Yeah.
That earth still ain't gonna move for you. The momentum that you got is still gonna hurt. The train is still moving though. It's still on the track. And it ain't gonna stop just because you decide to jump off. There's rules to everything.
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't want to follow them. There's rules to your health, your body.
Yep.
There's rules you need to follow in order to keep your body in shape, to keep your mind intact. There's rules to everything. But if just because you choose not to follow them, don't negate the fact that the rules still exist. And the rules and the end of the following or not following that rule, you have the consequences of your choices. Good and bad, doesn't matter. They're there. They were set before you got here. So regardless of what you choose, you're going to have to suffer or enjoy, or you're just going to have to go through whatever the consequences are. As long as you are still in the land of the living, there's still going to be consequences based on your choices.
Mm-hmm.
And as your choices based on whatever you choose, it has rules. Nothing is void of rules. Even the void, even what we're going to call, space, the emptiness of space. There's rules to space. Some things can travel in space, some things can't, in the way that it travels in the atmosphere. So there's rules everywhere.
And there's only so many what do you call it, outcomes, so to speak. I know like movies like the butterfly effect and stuff like that, they're like every time you try to go back and change something, it would set something else off and nothing
Yes.
would ever be fixed. And that in itself is true. But there's still different personality types and there's different paths. If we're think of your life as a movie and you're watching it, you could, if you look back, you could see where the problem
Mhm.
occurred.
Yeah.
You'd be like, "Yep, there it is, right there."
Mhm.
But when you're living it, it's like, okay, but there comes a time when you get that wisdom and you get that that insight and that counsel
Mhm.
from other people that have already been there and done that. That's why it's important to raise the kids and talk to them and stuff. Tell them about your mistakes. Where you'll see, you'll be like, okay, this is their personality type. This is what needs to be corrected. Because you got people who are gonna say, "Well, I'm gonna do it my way." Those are the leaders, but they you can't tell them nothing.
Yeah.
Then you got the people that let's do it the right way, which is
Mhm.
is parent most likely because they know the path, they know the right way. They got other lazy people. Let's do it the easy way.
Yeah. You have your
And then
results.
then you got your fun people. I want to have fun. Let's do this, Lord. And then here they come. They loudest. The
Listen,
loudest one.
I like to have fun, but fun seems like it's a cuss word or it's something attached to the word fun when people say I want to have fun because that's based on interpretation of what you consider is
What you
fun.
mean?
Like, what's fun to you? Hold up, what you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Yeah. Oh, I want to like, man, let's go have some fun.
So now it's based on attitude. I mean, there's layers to it. We just, you know, got to the foundation, which is right from wrong, rules, choices. Now we're moving our way up. It's how can you make the right choice?
Yep.
It's based on the attitude.
Yep. 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 I like it.
I do too.
I
That's why
like
we're
it.
talking about it.
No, I'm saying I like rules. I like to know. I like to not have to process constantly be looking over my shoulders and try to process what's going on at every angle at all times. I mean, put it like this: my retreat is my house, my home. I like to know that my home is at this address and that nobody's bothering my home.
You want me to say?
The people who's following rules keep us in a safe space for long periods of time. The people who are here uninvited are the people who breaking the rules. There are rules when you approach them, when you come to somebody's house, right? And I like when I go into my house, I don't expect nobody to be in my room, in my house. When I come in, I'm thinking nobody's there. It's when somebody's there and they wasn't supposed to be there that we have problems now. You wasn't supposed. What the crap are you doing in my house? You know, and then the fight, and then stuff happens, and you start destroying my house. Hey, what you doing? You know how
Wait a
long I
minute.
worked and how hard I put this. This is my retreat. There's rules when you go when you make a phone call on the phone. There's rules to etiquette that we call it etiquette. You
Hello?
don't just go babbling off stuff. What'd you say?
Hello?
Hello, hello, yeah.
Hello?
There's rules. There's rules to everything. Whether you want to follow them or not, there's rules. But some rules actually um, make you. Some rules are set and you don't like them. Speed limits. I don't like speed limits.
We know this.
Yes, I'm gonna keep going. I don't like speed limits. I think they should be done away with in outside residential areas. Outside residential areas,
Mhm.
because we don't need to be bumping. We don't need to have
Cheering.
cheering. Yeah. So I
That ain't
think
even
speed limits,
outside
but
no more.
because the safest roads in the world, some of the safest roads in the world, don't have any kind of signage at all. And it's crazy. As we talk about rules and choices, you take the obvious rules away, the things that people love to break and ignore and rebel against, speed limits and things like that. Take them away. All of a sudden, people start following those very same rules when they're gone.
Yeah, because there's a feeling you get when you start hitting that 70, 80, 90, 100.
Yeah.
You be like, oh, let
You
me.
feel like, man, I could die. You
You're like, hold up.
you're like, sure.
Because there's a law of gravity. There's a law of, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hit an intersection. When
You
you
better
know,
stop.
when you now know, some people like I don't like rules. I like them. I just don't like speed limits. I don't like the way they're set. They're set to outside of residential areas. They're set to just have somebody control you when you're not trying to do that. Like and we don't. And when I say that, let me clarify because I only what this dude don't even want to. It's not that I don't want speed limits at all. It's like most speed limits everywhere I've been. Speed limits have always been set, and they don't update them. It's like you had those speed limits since this town was first created, and now this town is a city. Why is the speed limit still the same on this road, man? We don't even do. It's not even the same thing, you know. Um, but yeah, when they get their intersection, all of a sudden people start stopping. There's no stop sign. You could have went. Uh-uh.
Gotta
Shoot,
look both ways
because
before I
now I
cross the
know the
street.
other person don't have to stop.
We teach that them in kindergarten. Look both ways.
Yeah, look both ways and
Now
do it
you're gonna
again.
have to look up because they're gonna have flying
That
cars.
flying look,
Listen,
look.
that's too much. I'm gonna
That's
stay
why
at
we're not
home.
ready. That's why we don't have them because people cannot deal with the
The
two
road.
dimensions, let alone when you add that third. We can do it X Y. We can't handle Z.
Too much. Too much.
Yeah. So I just want to come in here and talk about rules. Tell me, what kind of rules do you have? This is the Threshold Agenda. Please like, share, and subscribe and follow if you want. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Get stars. Oh, somebody joined us just a few seconds ago, but yeah, I'm entertained even that one person. So don't be a stranger. I know we didn't give a heads up to this. I just wanted to come on here and you know talk about getting with Ali PR. She decided to come through, come to the studio,
Hey,
you know, and
you
we got
know.
some rules. As a matter of fact, there's rules we got on. I had technical difficulties earlier. There's some rules to signals and the software I'm using and the hardware and all of this stuff. Some things sometimes if you didn't do something right or you don't have enough bandwidth, you will get cut off.
Oh,
You will get cut off.
are we doing announcements?
Hmm?
Voice just left. Are we doing announcements?
Announcements.
Yeah, I'm
Go
just
ahead.
starting thinking about Friday.
Go ahead.
Friday. What is
Friday.
Friday?
You know what? I don't even think y'all ready for Friday. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for Friday? Do you even know what that is? It ain't my birthday. No, it ain't your birthday. Juneteenth. Juneteenth. Friday is Juneteenth for most people who are aware of what's going on this Friday. Juneteenth is Friday. But there's also another day. World Sickle Cell Awareness Day.
Oh,
What you
Sickle
got?
Cell Day. Yeah, it was created in I think 2008. I think they observed the first one in 2009 globally by the United Nations. The African nations spearheaded that effort, but they wanted to spread awareness about sickle cell disease and things like that. So this wasn't just a U.S. thing.
Mm-hmm.
Globally, everybody's celebrating World Sickle Cell Day
Why?
because
Why that day?
why that day?
Yeah, why that day?
I don't know.
I would try to think that they found a correlation with Juneteenth. They know a lot of black people in this country on this side of the globe, whether they're part of the history or not. No, you just like, nah, that ain't it. Well, it don't have to be it. I'm just saying, June 19th, out of all the days you pick June 19th, but Juneteenth has been the day that's been celebrated for quite some time by black people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get black people's attention, get it on the day that you know they're going to be out there, on the day that you know that they can focus on it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of blacks, since we are the most affected by sickle cell, then we need to really get the more numbers, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you want to you put it on the day that you can focus on. Juneteenth wasn't a holiday of a federal holiday at the time. We know Juneteenth just became a federal holiday within the past couple of years, but um, I, me myself, I'm from Texas. As a matter of fact, my brother was born in Galveston, so we grew up with Juneteenth. So
I
it,
didn't know
it was
that.
a big thing, yeah. And it's not something that, but now people have commercialized it so much. It's just like anything else. Other people who don't even know, don't have the essence, don't have the history. They just want to capitalize on something just to make money. They'll use anything. Rules again. You kind of you water down and you take away the richness or what it is. And like most people don't know, Juneteenth is a free day. Did you hear me what I said?
Uh-oh.
Juneteenth is a free day.
Freedom.
The slaves, the last of the slaves were freed on Juneteenth. And I've been to so many Juneteenth functions and they have people selling stuff. Who was selling stuff on Juneteenth? Who? They didn't own anything. They were slaves. And who was buying? They didn't have no money. So how in the world are you selling anything on Juneteenth? I've seen this is the commercialization of doing and people who don't know about Juneteenth just doing stuff and then making excuses about what's going on Juneteenth. Juneteenth is free. Juneteenth is free. Have I told the story on here yet?
Probably not. Go
Have I told
ahead.
story time? Just in case you haven't gotten it, story time. My first experience with Juneteenth. I lived in the projects in the small city, I guess you can say, in Texas, and I walk into the park. I don't know anything. I'm a little kid. I'm probably like in sixth, seventh grade, something like that. And I'm walking up to the park on one of my just a casual weekend. And as I walk into the park, I saw a strange sight that I haven't seen. It was a woman with a deep freezer, a full size deep freezer in the park. I'm like, what? how in the world did you get the deep freezer out here? How the world did you
Right,
get this deep freezer out here?
right.
It's just out there by one of the poles because I think she had power on one of the poles, so she hooked up the deep freezer. And I'm, curious. I'm kind of staring, I'm like, there's a woman, and she wasn't too far from the road, so it looked strange. Why is she out here in the park? And where the crap is going on? I'm looking around. What is this? And she kind of called me over. She said, "Hey, how you doing?" I got closer looking. She, "Hey, how you doing?" She said, "You won't." She's like, "Here, come look." I'm like, you ain't finna get me that close." But I could see from a distance. I'm like, what's she trying to show? Who are you? Blah blah blah. She said, "You won't." She said, "Pick which one. Pick which one you want." She opened the deep freezer. It was a deep freezer full. We call them cool cups. Some people call them icy pops and things like that. Basically frozen Kool-Aid in a styrofoam cup. But she had cool cups, popsicles, ice creams, all kinds of frozen treats in there. And she said, "Which one you want?" I'm telling I don't have any money. I'm a kid. I'm from man. I come from projects. I don't know where she came
Mhm.
from. And she said, "No, just pick one. It's for free. You can have one. You ain't got to pay for it." And I'm still kind of cautious. And I said, "That one right there." And she said, "Here, you want this one? Yeah, here you go, baby. The blah blah blah. There you go. Enjoy it." And I think she said, "Happy Juneteenth," but I don't know what Juneteenth is, so it's kind of out of my memory. So she shows me this. She give me this cool cup, and as I walk away, licking and eating my Koopa, watching my back, there's a guy pulls up in a truck. He's on the old Ford truck, thing falling apart on every side, rust,
Wow.
and he's pulling this big old grill, smoke pluming out of it. I'm like, who drives with a grill that's still hot? That's strange to me. He pulls up in the park. I'm watching him now. I'm looking back at the woman. The other kids start walking up to the woman. I'm watching him, and he pulls up here with the grill. I stare at him a couple times. There's other people coming to the park like normal,
Mhm.
but then all of a sudden, this man he opens the grill. He said, come here, little young buck." Yep, yeah, yeah. He's taught other kids went over there and talked. I guess they've been there before. They saw him. I ain't seen him before. I walk up to this man's grill, and he had wings, wingless drummies, and he had little ribs and all of that stuff. He said, "Here, which one you want? Huh? What? I ain't got no money. No, no, come and get this. Happy Juneteenth." He gave me a riblet or something like that. Now imagine a little kid growing up in the projects. I don't have many things to look forward to be given to me. I show up in the park that I've been to several times, and I show up and somebody gives me. I have a cool cup. It's hot. It's the summer, and I have something to eat. Then you go over here and they got little bags of chips and they got little things they giving.
Now you
And get
full as a
I
little
have
kid.
yeah, as a kid, I just ate my lunch or dinner, whatever it is. Depends on how early you go.
That's awesome.
I just ate and I look around and I saw a bunch of people playing basketball. They over there swinging, playing the kids playing in there. The pool. I think they opened the pool because it was supposed to be closed on this weekend, but they opened the pool on this day. They opened the pool. People swimming. I saw a bunch of cars pull up. I didn't hear one gunshot. I didn't see one argument. I saw everybody happy. Everybody listening to their music. Even on the especially on the basketball courts, a lot of competitive people, and they come out there and they get on that basketball court and they get real angry and they start fighting and stuff. Didn't see one
Mm.
fight. When this was over, I walked out back down that hill home. The first thing I wanted to do, I didn't see a lot of the other people that was from projects that I wanted to tell them about what happened.
Juneteenth.
I didn't even know. To me, it wasn't Juneteenth. It was like, oh my gosh, man, it was a bunch of black people up here and we had a good time and there was no problems. Everybody was happy. Why? We know one thing: people are good around food.
That part.
When it's time to eat, it's hard to be mad. You can't. It's
That
hard to
shit was
be mad.
good.
Every usually gatherings in every culture, race, it don't matter. You get around food, you can usually be at peace. But the thing was, I went and advertised as a kid, Juneteenth, didn't even know what it was about. I didn't get bombarded with a bunch of history crap that ain't nobody wanted because I know I'm a kid. I'm not gonna remember anyway. But I did. But guess what I did? I did tell people to come and join us. And the next year, more of us was waiting for Juneteenth. We was excited about going to Juneteenth, not just because of the food, because all the other kids that was there playing, they didn't normally come to that park. So we got a chance to experience something on Juneteenth that throughout the rest of the year, it's crazy. You want to experience again. But for some reason, on it's kind of like on Christmas, everybody want to buy a gift. All
Mhm.
of a sudden, all of a sudden, you want to be more gracious and happy, and you got the music. But any other day, you come around here, it's a bunch of negativity and fussing and fighting and stuff. But Juneteenth was that. It was that experience for me. I wanted to go. And here's another thing: whether you had money or not, everybody got the same portion. That's what the gift was. As a kid, I got the same portion as the next kid or the next adult. You don't come in and you can't have it. And you know, I know we're talking about rules and choices, but I'm kind of getting off topic here. In the Bible, when it talks about the whole when they brought in food for tithing and things like that, or when they bring in things for the church, that they tell them that it's one pot, everybody gets to eat. We don't want the rich, this one who got more money over here eating all this food, and this one they don't have anything, they can't eat. They're hungry, and they just what I'm gonna watch you eat. What kind of craziness is that? So Juneteenth, everybody get the same portion. So whether you're rich or poor, so I'm from the projects, I'm eating just like, and I'm happy. That means when everybody leaves. That means that whether you came in with money or without, everybody left graciously. Everybody left with joy in their heart because nobody left hungry. And I think about that with the slaves back then.
Mhm.
How can you join in the festivity if the ones that did not have as much as the next now are going to leave with less than the next? That's not a joy. I don't want to come back to this. This isn't a celebration.
Right.
Especially if you're selling this, you may have a couple of slaves who had a couple of pennies or something who can buy this and that. But what about the ones that didn't have it? Well, you know what, you got to deal with it. You got to get in where you fit in. That's the attitude you think these people had at this point. Get in where you fit in. Well, if you ain't got it, I guess you won't be eating. That's the attitude you think these people had. That's a celebration to you, or does it make more sense that, hey, we all need to join in? I used to couldn't talk to you freely, but now that I'm free, I can actually party with you. I can actually celebrate and show joy. I can actually love it in public. And you mean to tell me I won't get beaten? I won't get this? I won't have a punishment for actually showing joy? Hey, I got this. Eat some of this with me. We can now we had a couple of we had a pot of beans in there. You know what, we got some corn over here. Hey, I got a couple of potatoes. Now we can have a big pot of something, that of chili or soup or something like that everybody can eat. We got, you got a pig that you've been saving for a special occasion. This is ain't nothing that special in right now. You know what, that pig can feed so many more people.
Mhm.
Especially now you can spread it out because all you had was the pig, but you ain't had the beans. You didn't have all this other stuff though. And that's what it is. You share that, you develop that. I know I kind of got off subject, but even with that, there were rules. We can still pull out the rules. The rules were, you were a slave and now you're no longer a slave. So now you have a new set of rules. How are you going to govern yourselves when you're free? Right now, in today's world, in the climate that we're in right now, you got a lot of people who don't want to follow any rule. That's why we're not, it's not, that's why you don't see a lot of unity,
Mhm.
because they want to be individuals. They don't want to follow any set rules. I ain't doing that. Oh, let's take this. You doing too much. You go into churches and people call you, you doing too much. It don't take all that. Yeah, dude, for that person, it takes all that. And I don't know if anybody, you know, what's his name? Shirley Caesar, Shouting John. It took all that. Shouting John understood. He told him, hold my mule. I'm finna praise God. If you don't want to do it, I'm gonna do it.
Mm.
Why? Because of what this man has been through and what he's received, and he's in good health. He got all that land. You ain't finna stop me from doing it. Why? Because I know about the rules that set when you praise God. I know about these things that happen. I'm gonna make the choice. I'm gonna do it. You got some people that are scared, they're fearful, they will not praise him at all. They won't say thank you at all. You got people that be in public. How many of y'all being in public and you know good and well you don't have no control over what's going on with that food, but you still want to thank God for that food, but you get quiet and you act like you want to do it when nobody sees you. Thank,
Mm.
thank, thank, thank you, God. Okay. Jesus wept. Amen. Jesus weeping ain't got nothing to do with that food, man. What the crap are you talking about? Thank him for the food. You made a safe travel. You made a trip. You made it somewhere. Thank you, God. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jesus. Woo. Woo. I thank God we made it across that bridge, because you know how I feel about that bridge. I don't do bridges, man. Okay. You know, thank him. But we'll make choices and we'll go to a restaurant. Now we got people that don't want to wear the proper attire when they get on the plane. That ain't your plane. You want to have people that argue about how you get on the plane. And I understand there's still people acting crazy. But if you want to get on that plane, you need to follow the rules of that plane. It doesn't matter if the other person had to follow that same rule. Either if you want to get on the plane, you need to do what is necessary to get on the plane, or don't get on the plane. But please believe there's going to be rules, and people are going to break them. They're going to bend them. They're going to manipulate them. But if you want to get the results that you're seeking, there's always a set of rules, and it's up to you to choose whether or not you want to follow those rules or not. Bring it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, because that was a great story, about, your memory of Juneteenth. We didn't really have Juneteenth here, um, up until recently, until the federal holiday was declared, because, I mean, people did it in their homes and stuff like that, but, I mean, even back when they first started it, people, they didn't like us congregating as far as Black people. They didn't wanna acknowledge that there was a second Independence Day, that there was an Independence Day for all, to
Which
include the rest of us, and it ended in 1865 with Texas being the last state, technically, because that was the last state. California hadn't been established yet, I don't believe. But all those things, I said all that to say that, like, I would like to see, because at this point, most of us know, because we've been told about it now recently. But the next generation, what about the first state that abolished slavery? It kind of gives us more perspective on. Yes, it took them 2 years from the Emancipation Proclamation, but if you go back to the first state to abolish slavery was Vermont.
mhm,
That's why the slaves were trying to. That's why the Underground Railroad even had occurred, because they were trying to get there.
mhm,
Think about it. There's a place I've never been, and it's hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away,
yeah,
but I know that I can actually try to have a life there.
mhm,
And that's what they were trying to get to. But Vermont was the first state, and it banned slavery back in 1777,
okay.
July 2nd.
Yeah, northern states had a different mentality. Remember,
So they were closer to the Independence Day in Vermont, because it
right?
was 1777, but they didn't nobody was talking about it, because they was like, hey, this wasn't for all
At
them.
this time, was Vermont a state?
Yeah, Vermont was a state.
Okay, because they had
They had
colonies
their
and
colonies and stuff, but yeah, but I mean, it was banned in the Constitution. So I mean, some people did try to get it right,
mhm,
early on, but the southern states was very rebellious.
yeah,
Massachusetts came. It was, yeah, like you said, they were colonies. But in 1983, so I mean, years kept going by. 14 years went by before it actually sealed the deal.
yeah. So you're trying to get there, you can't. Because and the crazy thing is, you have to go through the other states that also do not do that, and they'll send you back.
Mhm.
So I can't remember what it was called, some kind of rule, law. They could, and here's why people talking about rules. We're talking about rules. This is why I understand that there's a rebellion to all rules, especially for us. But regardless of what it is, this is why it's so important to go vote. This is why it's so important to be a part of the local governments, especially not just federal government, but local governments. This is why it's so important to be included, be active in your communities,
Mhm.
because even if you can't create the laws of the land of which you live, you can govern and coach and lead and inspire those who live there to follow said rules, unless they have the ability to leave or the desire to leave.
Mhm.
Now, you have some people that will come in and gain control and then change the rules. That's what we keep having in our government. We have set rules, but people keep coming in and either disregarding it, dismissing it, changing it, altering it. And now you have a bunch of twisted rules.
Mhm.
Since the beginning, it's the perversion of things that causes problems. Rules are set, but if you pervert that rule, or if you pervert your mindset against that rule, now we have a problem. Because the consequences is going to come of your choice of why you did that when you perverted.
Did it occur to you that Do you remember the War of 1812? Now we're going to history.
Uh
Them
oh. Uh
history
oh.
buffs.
History. Come on. Come on. Come with it.
The War of 1812, the British came over here and was all like, look, if y'all fight for us, because we're already here, we'll give you your freedom.
Right.
And they did.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of
They started
us
leaving.
went, yeah.
Yeah.
And my aunt was trying to tell me, but I still don't. It's not clear to me in the timeline. I got to do more research on my family history, but um, that my bloodline was over there, and that they left and came back.
Mm.
They went to the Britain, Great Britain. So it's like, how true is that? Like, I want to hear
How
that perspective.
true is the perspective of people who left and came back?
Yeah, like, I mean, because a lot of people are like, well, even though they were free, they still stayed with the slave owners and stuff because they what were you gonna do?
Yeah,
After
we
you were
we know
freed.
we know freedom for some. It's a word,
Yeah.
and we know even though rules. Okay, this is a prime example. Also, slaves are trying to obey the rules that was just set. I'm talking about the ones that were free
There we
when
go.
freedom was set. There's a law or a proclamation.
They're like, you free, but you can't do that.
You're free, but people who don't want to follow that rule are still against you from being free. So they said, no, you're not free in my eyes. Still today, we have laws that are set that they are more discretionary, right? People will pick and choose which rule or law they will follow or enforce on people who don't follow that same rule in the same way, unless it's supposed to be followed. Now, I'm not talking about just government. I'm talking about everybody in our spiritual bodies, in our financial system, in the governments, in our families. Who's supposed to be having authority over this, and what is the rule, and are you to follow that rule? Is that rule righteous? Because still based on whether it's a good rule or bad rule. You can have a rule. Now, I understand it don't matter what the rule is. If you want to stay in this land, you need to follow that rule or suffer the consequence suffer the consequence that comes when you don't follow that rule. However, we know some rules were set to for more control versus safety, or they were biased. They were for this group versus that group. And we know that if you broke that rule, they would change it and make it fit. So it's kind of like they're chasing the control of you, so they'll keep altering that rule. And we know sometimes even in a government, that's what amendments were doing. They're trying to change it, but the ones who had power authority were changing it to still be biased towards something versus to be open for all. Even though we'll use the words to say it's for all, but we know it wasn't set that way. So yeah, we have rules, and this is why it's back to if we get back to the basics of what rules are, back to the basics instead of all of this inflated ideals and ideologies and this biased way of thinking and not just racial prejudices, but these prejudices of who we want to try to favor these people and go against these people and do it for that people, but not that people. You can get this, but you can't get that much of it. You can only get this much. And all these little paradigms that you want to set for somebody else's way of thinking without even asking them most of the time. If we get back to the basics, things will go a lot smoother because rules and laws and governments that are not made by man doesn't respect man either. So it don't matter who you are. The rule is still a rule. It's going to be there regardless what you say.
Yep.
You still need oxygen to breathe. I don't care what's in the air. Without the oxygen, we're probably not going to be here for too much longer. You still need it, every one of them. Whether you was black or white, was you rich or poor, it doesn't matter. You a believer or not, you still needed the oxygen. It didn't matter. So rules and regulations are set, and it depends on who makes them and how they're made can help make life easier or worse or harder, right? So you went on to the War of 1812.
Yeah, I was talking about the Civil War. I mean, all the Revolutionary War. I mean,
All of
there were several wars that were fought just about the whole topic. Half of them was on the line of we need slavery. Half of them were like, no, we don't. These are people.
But
What's
you know
wrong with
what?
you?
There's two people watching right now. right?
Mhm.
Thank you for you, whoever you are. Thank you. I appreciate you showing up. Let me ask you something. Regardless of speaking about a race, we're not speaking about races. We're thinking about rules. Do you believe that right now we do you think that a type of slavery is still needed or not? Do you think we should have a group of people who are the people themselves are the worker bees versus another group of people who are the recipients of said work? Is that something that we should still employ? Because if you think about the class and the caste system, it's kind of what that still is. They have different words for it in almost every culture.
Mhm.
We still have it. What happens when if you get rid of them? Like let's say we get rid of the considered working class. Would everybody just all of a sudden start withering and go away?
No, but that's not slavery, that you're working. Slavery
No,
is
no.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about what I'm talking about is you're gonna have people that's gonna be doing the work, and there's gonna be the other people that's not doing the work, but they're gonna be the recipients of said work. I'm not talking about you got uh, you know, people out here low paid wages, because that's not slavery. And what I'm talking about is do you think but we do know that there are people who, when you think about how much they actually do receive, it's
Yeah.
so close to slavery if you want to think about it. Because slavery, even indentured servants, they got they had a little bit of whatever. They were given loans and all of that
Yeah, and
to where
debt
they could never pay it
debt
back,
bondage,
but it
yeah.
was more it cost more than what got paid, so they
It's
never
a
could
debt
get on to
bondage, yeah.
yeah. So we have all these different ways of how we treat a certain group of people to never be able to excel or grow because the rules are set against the group of people
Well, that's
to where they cannot move like in like in India the caste system. Those certain Indians, they can't they the untouchables, you can't even like really help them out in public, and they get treated a certain way, and it's out in public and people just stand by, well, that's the rule. That's the rule. Now you can watch these people get treated like this, but because of the rule you will accept it because it's normal here. How did that
right.
happen?
Because the life is not valued. You're treated as an object and not a person. If everybody is if we have basic human rights and they acknowledge that they're humans, that they're people, people can't be owned by another human, then there wouldn't be an issue. But that's the point. They During slavery times, there's one group of people thinking that the other group of people is not human. They didn't value. There's no value of the life. When they said, "Oh, let's make a value," then they created life insurance, and they were like, "We're going to attach your life to a policy, still not valuing my life, but you created the value,
Yeah.
and then whenever it was time to pay, give me my policy back."
Well, mostly that was based on that the way that started. It wasn't the policy wasn't for the person. The
No, it
policy
was
was
for the house owner.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was the owner because you were property.
but that could have settled a lot of differences, as far as don't you have a life insurance policy on me? Once I'm free, give me my policy,
Right.
and I'll be on my way.
Right.
I'm gonna go up to the northern states and start a new life, or go west. I mean, I don't know of any. I want to hear the stories about the African Americans or the black people that went west.
Yeah, the Louisiana Purchase was a big purchase,
Yeah,
and it opened up a lot more things when they.
we typically stay
Well,
by water.
I think we heard I think we a little bit of history. History is one of those things. If you
Mhm.
didn't get it, you
You didn't
missed
get
it.
it.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's fine. Um, they had what they call it when you just go and get a plot of land and you put the boundaries up. That's why it's the Wild West, because you go out and you just it's homestead. Was it homesteading? I think it was
Yeah,
homesteading.
Homestead.
And they just go and try to pick their plots of land, and you can get up to a certain amount as long as you basically mark it, with some way that I don't even know all the ways that they had to mark their land, but you mark your territory, and you build on it and you live on it, and you basically just figure out how to survive. It was a wild west where you out there in the middle of wherever you plot your land, which why most of them would focus on if they mined for gold, which yeah, you usually find bodies of water because you stupid if you're gonna go in the middle of the desert and just plot just but oh dude, I can have this big plot of land, dude. There's no There's no water. There's no trees. There's no vegetation. What do you think you're finna do out here? I just want the land. But you can't even. You're going to cultivate. That's going to take some time.
We were the cowboys too. We
Yeah,
they
that's where
had. I
the
want a movie about the Great Exodus. I want a movie about going west.
yeah cowboys. That's where that
Yeah,
term comes
that's
from.
yeah.
Because you call a lot of black people call boys. So they had cow hands, but then they had the cowboys. Um,
They went to Kansas. I mean, it's people don't be thinking about it, but we were one of the some of the first inhabitants of Kansas and Nebraska and Colorado. They had all black towns.
yeah. Now, if we gonna start doing all a bunch of this stuff, remember there are a lot of us already here
Hmm.
before. So
Right.
the whole the whole thing about the first ones getting here in the first one, most of the time it was already people there.
Hmm.
Most of the time it was already people there. I mean, we even hear about what we don't hear that much about right
Hmm.
now. It's like Pueblo Indians,
Oh
the
yeah.
Pueblo Indians.
Hmm.
We don't hear that much about them because they kind of taking your attention away from the mountainous areas where they were already at. But we're gonna try to make it seem like, well, it's dangerous and people don't go to, man. That's why you don't want us there, right? Because
Hmm.
we've been found out about a bunch of that stuff that's still down there that the people were already, they had, and you
Hmm.
will learn about them. But what's so scary about learning about these people?
It's all history.
what are you
Hmm.
afraid of? Why don't you want us to know that?
Empowerment.
Because this is what happens when I believe secrets is what help get rid of people, why people pass, or why we lose everything, how people die, because that knowledge could be passed down to help people who don't have the means of doing it this way.
Yeah, they had nothing. But they made something.
They
So it's
may,
like
yeah.
we just rinse and repeat.
Instead, we get rationed out little pieces of controlled information. But to me, don't you want them not to be able to have to depend on you? If I didn't have to depend on you, then there's less you have to spend and on making sure I get treated fairly. If I can make my own stuff in a different way, don't you want that? Don't you want that knowledge? No, you don't want it. Nah, I need to control. Like what they doing with our food right now and our water. Most people missing the water still. They hear, but they're not really taking heed to the whole thing about the water. How much water we actually have left of clean water, drinking water. But which is crazy. We have machines that can create drinking water. What are you doing? They showed the Hoover Dam, how low that thing is. I'm like, how long have we been here and you still not trying to figure out? You can have machines on the Hoover Dam refilling the Hoover Dam. You can have machines on the Hoover Dam refilling the Hoover Dam. The same thing we got small scale.
Hmm.
Make a big scale machine or whatever apparatus, whatever kind of things you can have, and it will be slowly helping to maintain or refill the Hoover Dam. It won't happen fast, but it'll be drinking water. If you want the Hoover Dam to be drinking water, or you can create another place. Oasis can those machines that actually we basically we just collecting condensation. Those machines that are used, why is it that we won't just put those? You can create oases. You can invest in machines like that. They can be portable. You ain't even got to have them to where they take up space. They can be on the back of a doggone truck, and you can go park that truck on trailer, park that thing right there, crank it up, and start having it create the condensation in water, start refilling this thing. We talking about we running low on drinking water. That thing creates so many gallons of water per day or minute, hour, whatever. It's way more. Just crank it up and keep it on for a little while. Bring a couple of them. Let's refill this thing. Let's create a aquifer. Let's create a fill. Let's fill in this area over here. But that sounds. I know it sounds far fetched. Maybe, but you need to try. I would try. Well, what's wrong with it? Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
Anyway, thank everybody who's come and joined us. Please like, share, and subscribe, and give us a one in the comment section so I know that you actually a live person and not a bot. I see a couple of people be showing up, but nobody's really responding. Put a one in there, please, and let me know that you are actually a person. And if you have any kind of topics or subjects you want to talk about while we're still on right now, we're about to head on out and allow everybody to finish off their weekend. Al PR, you got anything for us?
No, this was good.
No?
I know I like
I'm gonna give you a couple more seconds. This is the Threshold Agenda. Um, just for those who are on YouTube or Facebook, you know, I am on Facebook and YouTube at the Threshold Agenda. Um, you know, I appreciate everybody who comes out and shows up for my segments. I really would. I'm about to open it up a little bit more for people to come on. If you want to say, put in the comment section if you want to be a guest, and we can have conversations. We can. I want to come to a consensus. My biggest thing is I'm not really filled on trying to bring in drama. We have enough of that online. We can get flooded with it. You really don't need me to add to it. Matter of fact, I probably just get lost in the sauce, right? But I just want to be thinking about things that maybe you thought about, maybe you didn't, and maybe even see if we can come to some sort of conclusions. We have conversations, but I don't want to just be back and forth. Let's see if we can agree on something, right? A lot of people love to nowadays they like to agree to disagree because they just don't want to agree with anybody. But no, I want to come to a consensus. I want to let's come to a conclusion of something and agree on it. Once we start developing a mindset to where we can be like minded, we can start moving forward, right? So out of the PR, what you got?
what you mean? You already
No,
got
you raised your hand. I thought you was
No,
gonna
I
say
didn't.
something.
I was moving.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we've been on here for a little over an hour. Happy Sunday. Please join us out there if you're in the local area in Northwest Florida. Join us out there. What's the name of the theater?
Ashbury Cinemas, Marquise Theater, Marquise 10. It's at 2828 Richburg Lane. It'll be Friday, June 19th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. One Blood will be there as well to accept donations. We accept walk-ins, and you can schedule online, but donate some blood. We need blood. Um, just it, it's a need for the sickle cell community, and it's a need in general. So um, you don't know if you're going to be a recipient. You know, you can get in a car accident and you need blood right then.
Right.
It's very important to have a match. Everybody just you can't accept everybody's blood, especially as African Americans. 1 in 3 is a match of another uh, is a matching donor. So we need more blood of diverse blood.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact,
Mhm.
um, next Sunday I'm gonna come on here. I'm coming live again. We're gonna talk about bloodborne diseases and disorders. Uh, one of them, of course, definitely is going to be sickle cell, right? G6PD. Anybody else who get this, be sure to stay tuned next Sunday at 0900 or 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time. We're going to come on here and talk about a couple of things, some comfort information, and maybe experiences. You can bring your experiences and tell us how you deal with it, or tell us what you're going through, or even if you just now finding out, you can come and learn some about sickle cell and G6PD. You can look it up right now. Do a little bit of research. Both of them are hereditary bloodborne disorders / diseases, and we're gonna come on here and talk about that on the Threshold Agenda. Thank you for coming out. Everybody, our hearts and minds are
Thank
clear.
you.
All right. Be blessed.